The Tibetan Spaniel is one of the most cat-like dog breeds. I debated quite a lot with myself over whether or not I should start a series like this, but I've been seeing a lot of other reviews of this ilk, clearly made by people who have no idea what they're talking about, so I thought I'd put my own spin on these reviews and actually offer some proper constructive criticism to the animators I'll be talking about. For now, I'll be looking at animators who I have some sort of connection to on social media, so they're easier for me to get in touch with. You'll see why later on, but I think that being in touch with the person before making a review or giving constructive criticism can help a lot when you know their methods of animation and what they personally do to create their content. So, with all that dull introductory stuff out the way, I'm going to be looking at Kittydog's animations. Kittydog doesn't really need that much of an introduction. She's probably one of the biggest names in the animation meme community, but she also makes other content like shitposts. Her content appeals mainly towards a younger audience, which is totally fine if that's a target audience that you're going for. Like most of the bigger animators in the community, Kittydog is obviously met with a lot of criticism regarding quality and content. There are actually some common criticisms that I'd also like to debunk later, most of which is regarding quality. But to start off, let's look at some of her videos. During our conversations, I asked Kittydog to send me the videos that she considers her best and her personal favourites so that I know that I'm critiquing content that hasn't already been improved upon. Obviously, I'm not going to show the whole videos either because the repeated or the quality throughout the whole thing remains the same. Right off the bat, it's clear that Kittydog utilises frame-by-frame animation. If you don't know what frame-by-frame is, it's essentially drawing or editing each individual frame separately. It can be done both digitally and traditionally. A lot of programs allow for frame-by-frame animation, whilst frame-by-frame is normally done on a pegboard in a traditional media. Frame-by-frame is possibly one of the more time-consuming ways to animate, and also one of the oldest. Kittydog uses Adobe Animate for her frame-by-frame animations. Adobe Animate isn't the best program for frame-by-frame. Despite its name being Animate, the top contender would probably be Toon Boom Harmony, which is used much more in industry and is normally the program that people expect you to learn before taking up a career in 2D animation. However, frame-by-frame can be done on any program, like I said. Even Photoshop has frame-by-frame capabilities, but it can get a bit messy with layering. Even the talk sprite I'm using now was frame-by-frame on Photoshop. When I started to get into animation when I was like 10, I literally used to draw on individual pieces of paper and load them up onto Windows Movie Maker because I didn't understand how pirating worked. Speaking of Adobe Animate, one criticism that I see getting tossed around a lot in Kittydog's comment section is the quality of her line work. And that, in my opinion, is a pretty poor and uneducated criticism to give someone who is using Animate and posts videos almost daily. Adobe Animate is notorious for having some of the worst brush controls and options available. It's unnecessarily time consuming to make something look good in Animate, and if you want to push videos out regularly, then you have to compromise. There is no problem in Kittydog uploading videos regularly. I think it's perfectly fine to upload animations regularly because with each animation that you will be improving in some way. Everyone learns and improves differently. Some people just like to push work out more, whilst others will sit back and think about what they're doing and how to improve before they even start. From looking at Kittydog's work, she's definitely on the right tracks, and it's good to see that she's perceptive to criticism and welcomes it with open arms. One thing that I think will give Kittydog's animations a bit more of a kick would be to use squash and stretch frames more to her advantage. Squash and stretch is one of the main principles of animation, and if you're animating or thinking of becoming an animator and you don't know the principles of animation, then I'd suggest you go and look them up as soon as possible because they are vital to understanding movement and animation as an art form. Oh yes, animation isn't just drawing cute pictures all day, it has actual theory behind it. People who say it isn't hard seem to forget that very quickly. Squash and stretch is a common sight in cartoons. It's also often used alongside smear frames. Smear frames were more common in the early days of animation, and squash and stretch has persisted more. It's basically used to give a character or object a more exaggerated movement, and I think with Kittydog having such a cute, cartoonish, bouncy style, it would look quite nice to have some evidence of squash and stretch in her videos. It's only like 1 or 2 extra frames she'd have to draw, and they don't need to be very neat. One thing I definitely commend Kittydog on is her character designs. They're simple and they're recognisable, which are really good qualities for a character to have for animation, especially hand-drawn animation. Simple character designs are much easier to draw over and over again and leaves less room for inconsistencies. However, one problem with this is that if Kittydog does want to enter the animation industry in the future, she'd need a lot more variety in her portfolio. Now, I can't say that she doesn't animate different characters or try out different techniques in her spare time, but portfolios do often require a massive amount of different content to show employers that you are adaptable and you are capable at working on different projects. I'm sorry to say, but an employer isn't going to look at a portfolio full of memes and shitposts and think, yes, I will hire that. In fact, I don't even think employers even like seeing copyrighted music. Or should I have said hearing copyrighted music? I could be totally wrong, and Kittydog could be working on different stuff in her own time. I certainly don't upload everything I animate on YouTube, but if she wants to go into industry in the future, then it's something to start considering. But if you don't want to start working on a portfolio, that's fine. I started working on mine when I was about 18, and old stuff is constantly getting thrown out in place of new stuff. It's just a matter of being comfortable and starting that building process. All in all, Kittydog is a very talented YouTuber. She has a great sense in timing, which is a very important skill in animation. Her characters are designed very well for animation, and she's definitely very comfortable with the program she uses. In my opinion, her content can still be improved with some slight changes, like considering squash and stretch, and maybe testing out some different programs if she ever gets the chance to. So anyway, yeah, that was my first Animator review I did. I think it went alright. I don't know what to do next time though. Hey Sleepy King, shoot me a note on DeviantArt. I know you watch me on there. I want to dive headfirst into that stupid debate as to whether tweening is a form of animation or not. Spoilers, it is.